good?
Is it acceptable to say it was the performance so far of the World Cup? Maybe not.
The bad?
I'm scratching my head. The performances was just lacked that intensity.
And the amber?
Off the ball. Performance rankings.
Well, there's only really one place to start. This is athletics country that we live in. Eamon Coughlin, 1983. Sonny O'Sullivan, 1993. Sonny O'Sullivan again, 1995. Gillian O'Sullivan, 2003. Olive Loughnane, 2009. Rob Heffernan, 2013. I'd like to welcome Kate O'Connor to that exclusive list, number 6 for World Championship medalist 2025 heptathlon silver medalist. Out of the 7 events, 5 personal bests. Did it with an injury at the end, the 800 metres. But what an afternoon of running that was, because
and
Cian McPhillips as well, of course.
Yeah.
If it was the 810 metres, lads, we might have had a medalist. It was a beautiful end to it. And Kate O'Connor did it with not minimum of fuss, but a composed performance where she believed in herself. It wasn't like, oh, the plucky Irish against the rest of the world. It was like, no, this is a world-class athlete delivering. And she has had a brilliant year as it is. But this was the culmination of the hard work, because you were at the Olympics there. She finished 14th at the Olympics. She was disappointed with that. But 2025 has been very good to Kate O'Connor, and she has been good to it. So she's got World Indoor Silver, a European Indoor Bronze, and a World University Games Gold heading into these World Championships. And she said afterwards she could have taken the bronze here at the weekend, but that would have been too easy, too comfortable. And instead she gets the silver with flying colours.
Yeah, there's a line in Ian O'Riordan's piece about McPhillips. O'Connor and McPhillips are also acutely aware of how fickle progression can be. O'Connor missed the Olympics in Tokyo in 2021 because of injury, and McPhillips has endured a series of injuries and illness since running 1:46.13 for 800 metres in 2021. So that's 4 years ago when he was 18, which is the second fastest time indoors in European athletics history. So his pedigree was there. It just hasn't had the opportunity to deliver. And like, it was such a mad race. It was like, something's gone wrong here. He's been sick or something. He's out the back. And it's like, no, it's just his internal clock. Like one of the jockeys, I'm going to arrive at precisely the right time. And then 2 strides and that's it. And you're run out. But what a wow. If you were watching that, you're electrified. With the slow, steady release over 2 days, it's kind of like, at least the coverage of it now is telling you what the points are in live, so you can tell that she's going to get silver. But it's such a weird climax where you finish 7th and you're like, yes.
Yeah, totally, yeah, because you're conditioned when you're watching these things. Well, she's in the middle of the pack, what's this? But the commentary was great on TV because it was constantly reminding the viewer of what Kate O'Connor needed to do in this race. So all the way along you were informed about what's happening. And you could get giddy with excitement about the potential, but there's always the worry of, you never know, she could just slip and fall at any moment. Something could go terribly awry. Care style for the UK, for Great Britain, who've had a terrible Worlds by their standards. But it was magic, really. And like the Cian McPhillips race as well, it was just, he just ran out of the track. But he said himself, look, maybe he could have gone a bit earlier. He said he was a bit fatigued, actually, after the semi-final and his heroics there. But he's the 16th fastest 800 metre runner ever after that performance on Saturday.
It was the 16th fastest time, or he's the 16th fastest?
I believe he's the 16th fastest. I believe.
Just a reminder, of course, that we don't pay our athletes properly. Like, I think he's not carded at the moment.
I'm still a student.
Maybe he's 25 grand, but you should still be carded. It's like...
I suppose it depends how much time you're able to put in with that commitments.
Well, Paul O'Donovan was a student winning goals and was carded. There's no, like, whether or not what you do in your spare time is up to you. We should be paying our athletes. I think is it 40 or 50 grand we're giving our elite athletes. I think O'Connor might be on 50, or may have been on 25 this year and 50 next year, but 40 grand. It's kind of outrageous, really, when you consider the money that we're spending and finding for everything. Like, this is one of those circular arguments, of course. It's like, oh, we're spending 10 million on the American football. Nobody's mentioning the 88 million we're spending on the Ryder Cup, and going, well, is that because,
golf country
silence was bought? So anyway, I just think that we should be funding our football academies and funding our athletics academies, and this is all done by amateur coaches largely. You know, Kate O'Connor's dad is a teacher and spends his spare time training her.
Michael O'Connor, he helped build this, centre of excellence, really, to fulfill his daughter's potential or help.
The same arguments that have been made about academies and should really be made about athletics coaching, and actually all the sports would benefit from athletics coaching. There's a really interesting piece today by Chrissy O'Connor in The Examiner. What would we achieve if Gaelic Games didn't distract us? And I actually think that if all of the sports got together and decided that actually we just want to be fast as a country, and we hired a bunch of speed coaches who would work with all of the sports would improve at the same time. He is citing an example of Jason Foley. Foley was running 11:18 when he was a young athlete, while he was still a minor, and he hoped to be a sprinter. You can see he's pretty fast. Jason Foley fast. That's good for the Kerry footballers. Anyway.
But you do often hear of athletes that they started in athletics before progressing to what they actually took seriously as a career. And maybe it is... it's a seasonal sport for most of the country.
Yeah.
You know, we tune back in and we're high in life with Cade O'Connor and to an extent Cian McPhillips now. And as the weeks go by, a lot of the country will leave them go about their business until we see them again at a main stage.
The only thing is that actually, because Virgin are showing Diamond League, next year you'll see Cian McPhillips a lot, because he's reached that point now where his, winning the semi-final actually means that if you're booking people next year, you're like, oh, that guy's pretty good. He's got a profile there. Oh, he was the fastest European. Oh, yeah, okay. So he will be on that. And the other thing about Cade O'Connor is she's on TV solidly for 2 days. It's not like sprinters come on, do their lap, beat their chest and move on. It's like she's actually very visible. So hopefully the sponsors are queuing up to give her money because she deserves it.
It's a weird old thing to watch, isn't it? Like putting that aside.
Which?
The heptathlon or the multi-thing events. Because it's a strange one when you're switching, like even watching yesterday with the javelin. Or was that the day before, whenever it was. But it's a weird thing watching people do things not as well as you see them being done by the specialists. And it doesn't really matter,
But
it's all relevant.
to a proficient standard where
Yeah, like
it's still at a level.
Still a hugely thing, but
it is
interesting.
It is a really interesting discipline to fall into. You've seen something that's distracted you.
No, it's just because they were saying while that was happening that, that might be an Irish record. It turned out it wasn't. But like when you're saying it's not, it's like hourly. She's like,
but I'm just saying when you're not, I'm not measuring against thing, but it's just interesting.
There's 7 heptathlon events, so it's 100 metre hurdles, high jump, shot put, 200 metres long jump, javelin throw, and 800 metres. I'd be fascinated to know how you divide your time up with training. You know what I mean?
I think if you follow her Instagram, she'll tell you that's like I was doing my 800 metre session, and the distance runners are like, well, what does that look like? Because they obviously they would have like 5 or 6 different components.
If Cade O'Connor trained alongside a specialist of any of those 7 categories, and what would they learn off each other? Because you'd imagine Cade O'Connor would do most of the learning there from a specialist, but then the specialist might see something where she's a better rounded athlete.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyway, she's got 5 of those 7 events that I just mentioned were her personal best.
That's not bad, is it?
It's sensational stuff. She's
it's big time.
Only 24, from Dundalk. And Cian McPhillips is just 23, born during Saipan, as we mentioned on Friday, studying maths in UCD. He worked it all out in his head. Just 10 metres short of a medal. Think he would have caught up?
I think, look, it's hard to know. Everybody else obviously has the same criteria in their heads. They want to be arriving at that point at the fastest.
Yeah.
Like there was probably tiny. I'm sure he'll run it back, and there's a tiny bit around one of the bends. He was a little bit wide. If he'd stayed a little bit inside, who knows? But like fingers crossed. This is one of those fourths that begets medals later on in his career. There are some who reach fourth, and that's like fourth in the world at running.
Yeah,
running
really
2 laps is incredible achievements.
It's our first track medal at the Worlds since 1995. So it's only the 3rd Irish athlete to win silver, right?
Does heptathlon
At
fall
the
under
Worlds. These are the stats that I've
track and
discovered.
field,
I didn't.
isn't it?
Yeah, I would have thought. Rob Heffernan was the last medal. I would have thought that would have qualified anyway.
That's on the road.
That's on the road, I suppose. Yeah, yeah, that's fair enough.
20k around the track.
we're
I was thought that stat. Like, okay, that's probably true. So yeah, a hell of an achievement, and as I say, she has joined a very exclusive list, just the 6th medal at the Worlds. Carl Denny actually writes a really good piece in the Irish Independent. We'll speak to him later. But the difference in these World Championships for Ireland versus London in 2017 when it was the total opposite end of the spectrum and we were doing nothing on a global stage. Only 8 years later, and this is how far we've come along. Doesn't seem to be just a flash in the pan or a superstar in the shape of Cale O'Connor. This is actually a sustained thing. If we get the funding right, of course, Ger, you know. Elsewhere...
Sorry, just on that point, an excellent comment from Cara O'Leary. Greyhounds get millions, athletes get minimum wage. It's true. I don't know why we're funding the greyhound industry. I don't know why we're doing it. We should be making a song and dance about that as often as possible. The greyhound industry is dying. This whole notion that it's an intrinsic part of our culture is absolute bullshit. We should be... What?
Well, it was.
Yeah, but it's not anymore.
Okay, but I mean, things change. But like,
Exactly.
I don't think
things change. New
But I
information
don't
like
think it's
smoking was an intrinsic part of our culture.
But it's not. You know, it doesn't have to be a negative thing of attacking the thing and calling it unimportant. It's still important to people. Do you know what I mean? It might not be as many people or anything, but it's still of importance to people.
And are they caring for the dogs properly?
Some will, some won't. Like, it's not. But that's like anything. Same with horse racing.
Really.
Same with football. Football does not take care of the people it spits back out.
But the human beings who volunteer to play football are volunteering to it.
Yeah.
The dogs obviously have no say in what they're doing.
I'm not going to bat for it, but I'm just saying it doesn't have to be a X gets thing. But it
is. It actually is. The budget is being done at the moment, and there's a finite number at the end of that the Department of Finance publishes. That's a finite share. And we've decided that we're going to vastly prefer an industry which is supposed to be able to support itself but can't, over things like athletics, things like soccer, which actually improves there's like a fairly obvious thing here. And I think I think certainly if you were to try and obfuscate, you'd be like, oh, it's 7-0 some game. But in this instance, it is literally written down as facts and figures, and there's a number that they have to hit. And if they hit that number, or they go over that number, we have to borrow as a country. And we're not supposed to borrow too much because of ECB rules.
Roisin Rian also
do you think we give too much money to greyhound racing? Do you think we should be propping up the industry which is dying?
We'll keep going.
No. Do you honestly?
I just don't think these types of things of like we could go through an awful lot of things. Like, what money's horse racing getting? Like, it doesn't suit because horse racing is a little bit more popular. And people there's bigger money in it, bigger.
We're world leaders in horse racing, and there's
but sure,
there is actually a legitimate industry that is beside that. I do believe that horse racing should be trying to become self-sufficient, and there's also a way that you could do that with gambling, right? But no one is gambling on dogs with look at the form here. This is it's a degenerate form of gambling where they're putting the races on at random times in the morning where there's no attendees for the gambling industry. That's what's happening with dogs. If some of these dog tracks which should have been redeveloped years ago and provided housing for the housing crisis, we're putting on dog racing at 8:53 a.m. in the morning for an Asian market. So I just don't know where the defence of it's it's really important to some people, so we need to spend 13, 16, 20 million, hundreds of millions over the lifetime of that piece of legislation.
Why would they do it then?
Because of a lobby that decided we want money.
Okay, well then act as such. For athletics, for football, for everything else. You see it with the GA even last week, with the GPA looking for money for players. It's very effective at working the system. There's no point giving out about the system in terms of just going, it shouldn't be.
Come on, there's no point in giving out about the system.
But there's not.
What's the point in calling anything out or having
it's been called out for years. This is my point. There's nothing else that greyhound racing can do that can make people more determined to say this money is not deserved, but it won't change. So I'm just I'm not being fatalistic, but there's no point in going greyhound racing shouldn't get X. Okay, sure, it shouldn't, but that doesn't change anything.
These things can change. That's the whole point. Is if your politicians come to your door the next time canvassing, say, why are you giving all that money to greyhound racing? That's how things change. Public opinion moves over a period of time. The plastic bag levy, the smoking ban, these things, it's never going to change. Why would we bother talking about it? Of course it'll change. Things take time to change, but they do change. We prioritise dogs over athletics. That's the thing that we do as a country, and that's our identity.
All right.
So, Roisin Rian playing brands at the... You're done? Anything else? At the S13 100-metre butterfly event at the Paris Swimming World Championships in Singapore to continue the general athletics feel-good factor and green, very much so here, Jojo and Dara. And Ireland claimed silver medal at the eventing European Championships over the weekend. Their first in 30 years. Has there ever been more green?
No.
What if we got gold?
Well, but we didn't. So there hasn't been. From World Athletics, right?
It's very much green. All right, on to the football. What we got first here? Who is up first in the football? It is Arsenal Football Club. So they drew a 1-1 with Manchester City. Interesting tidbit here from the weekend that I noted, right? A few very big signings, big clubs in big games did not play at the weekend. So, like, I'm talking about lads who are tipping the 100-metre scale or above. So for Liverpool, they omitted Florian Wirtz and Alexander Isak from the starting 11 in the Merseyside derby against Everton. And Ebery Eze didn't start for Arsenal yesterday against Manchester City. So not necessarily just because you spent a huge chunk of money on a player are you definitely going to play. Managers don't seem too bothered by that. So Arsenal seem to strengthen at half-time here. Your boy Trossard starts on the left. And then at half-time, Arsenal 1-0 down, make a double sub with the aforementioned Eze coming on, along with Bukayo Saka. And then suddenly they looked a lot tastier. Saka takes up his position on the right. Eze is more central behind Gyökeres. Your boy's on the left. Things are rosy. Eventually they get their equaliser. When the other boy comes on, your other favourite, Martinelli, on for Trossard.
Yeah, no, we're wrong. You're wrong to point that out.
Actually, Martinelli came on for Timber.
I say it was the best one, midfield, to start the game, Arteta said when asked about his selection. Nobody asked me about the midfield three in Bilbao. Nobody. It was the same midfield. I believe it was the best thing for the team. I don't think the midfield is the issue, really. It's like not picking Eze, right?
Not picking Eze.
I presume they're being careful of Saka's hamstrings. That's why he's not playing every minute, which is the whole point of signing the rest of the players, right?
Yeah, I think it's just more to the point of I don't know if Eze is going to fulfill his potential here. You know? He doesn't start in this massive game, and then eventually...
And then he comes on and turns it.
You put him on
Yeah.
in his correct position. Just start him there if you're going to spend all that money on him.
Yeah.
I mean, these are the arguments I'm hearing all the time about because you spend X on a player, you have to play him all the time. Managers do not seem to go along with that whatsoever. I mean, Jeremy Frimpong was also left out in the Merseyside derby. So there's 3 of their signings in the summer don't play one of the biggest games of the season. I know they're far superior to Everton, but it's a massive derby and all that. They didn't play. It's a constant squad rotation. But for Eze, no matter how much they rotate, I just don't know how often he's going to play in the position that he came on at half-time. But I was glad to see him there eventually. So people are lamenting this game wasn't very good. I was kind of intrigued by it. There was a flawed nature to it. A lot of people saying, a lot of Arsenal supporters online saying if this is the other way around, if Arsenal parked the bus like City did, they would have been castigated.
They would have.
The year before last when they drew 0-0 at the Etihad was one of the most criticised scoreless draws in history from what I remember of it. As I say, they have less than 33% possession, City. Take Haaland off. They have Doku really leading the line, who's been very good this season actually. But essentially there's a lot of defenders on the pitch, as Gary Neville pointed out. But Gary Neville was also very complimentary about them right up until Martinelli lobbed Donnarumma. And then suddenly the narrative very quickly changes to great defensive performance versus lack of ambition. Now, what does it all mean?
Well, that's the problem.
What does it mean for Arsenal?
I don't know.
And where do we put them? I mean, it's like a lot of these are going to be amber, aren't they? I mean, there was 3 games in the Premier League yesterday, all draws as well. A theme of draws for many over the weekend. A wonderful, wonderful weekend for Liverpool, who are now already 5 points clear at the top of the league. They won again, and all their rivals, all their main rivals, dropped points. Arsenal and City cancelled each other out.
Do you think,
Chelsea lost. Spurs drew. Newcastle drew.
do you think Liverpool are going to cough up a 5-point lead?
I'm sure. Now, I did say this time last year, wait till Arne Slot starts losing games, we'll see. I am sure they're going to find a sticky patch eventually that if they continue to underperform versus their potential, they will surely at some point drop points. And then it's up to Arsenal, City, etc. to take advantage of that. But it's only the end of September. And all of these sides that I mentioned have a lot of competitions to keep themselves interested in. So points will be dropped at some point. However, it can't be denied that they've had this unbelievable start, Liverpool, and it's so early on in the season as well. And they have a hell of a squad, and they haven't started playing well yet. So then you start saying, well, imagine when they start playing well.
Yeah. We'll get into this with Vinny in a few minutes.
So Arsenal and Amber for sure. What else do we have? City. I mean, so what do you want to say for City here? So for 90 minutes, good performance by City? Great goal scored to Johnny Reinder's lovely way to pass to Haaland. Finished well. What other opportunities did they create in this game? Anything mad that we're missing here? Doku had a great run in the second half where he squared it, and if Haaland was still on the pitch, he could have been there for a tap-in.
Yeah.
Other than that, actually, Haaland has a shot in the second half. See this one-on-one with Raya, and Phil Foden's totally free. Totally free.
Yeah.
And he's actually not criticised that much in commentary too, because it's Haaland, because of the form he's in at the moment. He's even by his standards, outrageous.
Yeah, he doesn't tend to score goals from there.
It was far for him, yeah, but he was feeling himself, as you'd say yourself. I'm not. You gotta say Amber, right?
Yeah, because if you put them in the red for the performance not being great, and them suddenly Pep saying I've parked the bus for the first time in my life, they could come back and bite you in the ass. But it doesn't feel like they're a team on the verge of breaking out, does it?
Breaking out positively.
As in, here's a team that's going to reel off 15 games in a row.
Yeah, like if they, I don't know, I would buy into the fact they're missing some creativity in that team, like Sherky and Marmouche. But I don't think they have the core fundamentally. When we were doing our pre-season predictions, I didn't have City down to win the league. I have them third at best, because I just don't think they have.
That
core team.
Arguments, like they had Foden, Silva, Reinders and Doc.
Foden has not been a core player for City since the year before last.
He's played 3 games in a row. Started 3 games there in a row.
That's his representation. That's not influence.
Is he not coming back to form? I suppose is the question.
Well, what you make of him yesterday?
Well, he obviously gets subbed off.
Very good in the Manchester derby, but he has been good in Manchester derbies. You know, I think there's an underperformance element when it comes to Foden. I actually just think they have the third best squad in the league, to be honest with you. That's what it comes down to for me. I think they're the third best team.
They finished third. They're in amber.
So they're amber. Who else do we got? United. They won a game. It's the first time Ruben Amorim has won consecutive league games at Old Trafford. Did you have that? So they win 2-1, in a game where, right, Robert Sanchez gets sent off after 4 minutes, which is one of the earliest a goalkeeper has ever been sent off the Premier League. I think it's also 30 years. 30 years for a lot of stats this morning. But United do create 2 opportunities before that, when it's 11v11. Shesko nearly gets on the end of a cross, and then Mbeumo heads it, which is saved by Sanchez. And then Patrick Dorgu, if he gets a shot off, good chance that's going in. That's tackled. Sanchez gets sent off, and then from the resulting free kick, and Mbeumo nearly scores from the rebounder that comes back to him. But United eventually take a 2-0 lead. Fairly well deserved. Enzo Maresca briefly lost his mind there, made 3 subs. He took off. So Estevao, okay, fair enough, he took him off. But then Pedro Neto is such a crucial player to have in a situation like that where you're a man down on the break. But he subs him too. But then Cole Palmer, who wasn't fully fit, he said afterwards, Maresca, he's hooked. So suddenly Chelsea have 0 threat at all. And then, would you not, for the crack, but the whole point of why we're here in the first place for football, would he not bring Garnacho on? It was all teed up. It was perfect. He was receiving instructions tactically. He was leant over on the bench that he knows so well at Old Trafford. It was ready to go. It was a raucous atmosphere. It was pissing it down. It was dark.
Booed him.
The ambience was unbelievable. The atmosphere was there. And so rarely we have a visceral atmosphere in the Premier League. You know, this moneyed, fancy league. And suddenly we had a bit of grassroots passion. And they left out the boy that was going to cause the crowd to go into a stir. How often do you really hear Old Trafford passionate? It was about to happen. And Maresca bottled it. But they ended up with a young fellow up front. Terry Charge.
Yeah, João Pedro still there as well.
And João Pedro, who was doing a massive defensive job for them, in fairness, wasn't doing much attacking. And it was there for them to win, or to at least get something from that game. This is against an incredibly vulnerable side. So they get one back. Trevor Chalobah, good header. After Casemiro sent off, stroke of half-time. Amorim himself says, well, we do it to ourselves all the time. Don't make life easier for ourselves. Complicate matters. And Chelsea really don't pose much of a threat. Cucurella has a chance just as Casemiro is sent off at the end of the first half. They have another one where the ball's fumbling around the box in injury time for a potential leveler. But really, they're very disappointed. You know, you could put Chelsea down with Manchester United at the same level. They looked very even. all the money that Chelsea have spent, and that's the best they have to offer.
Yeah, well, that's great for Man United, though. That's the world champions you're talking about right there.
So that finished 2-1 to United. Now, you'd have to say it's a green, right?
For Man United?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the greenest of greens.
I
They're
don't know
back,
if it's
baby.
the greenest of greens, but
They were aggressive. They had a game plan. No one's talking about the three at the back now, are they?
Oh, they will. And they won't stop talking about it either. Casemiro's first Premier League goal in 11 months, would you believe? And it was the first match in Premier League history that saw 2 goals, 2 red cards, and 2 substitutions in the first half.
2 goals, 2 red cards, and 2 subs.
Yeah.
That's not...
Why did you bring Euro on for Maguire? Why are you doing that? Why are you switching centre halves for the game time? Because look, there's nothing to say for sure that goal would have been prevented, Chalobah's. But Amad Diallo was furious with someone when Chalobah got that header. He was throwing a little tantrum. Maguire was only off the pitch a few minutes at that point. Chelsea's first shot on target was their goal. You know, lamentable display by the Londoners against this rabble.
Yeah, it was. You can't give Man United an in into the game when they're so fragile, and you have to blame the manager for that. I think. Just looking at Maresca with the polo neck, you're like,
What's wrong with that?
He's trying to be Pep.
But he's a disciple.
Well, I know, but don't wear the same clothes. Like have something slightly different.
No, Pep was dressed as a tech bro yesterday. In the hoodie and t-shirt.
Yeah, Pep has those expensive hoodies. Has always had them.
Black and navy, but he pulled it off. In fairness to the boy. Shesko, nice flick on as well for the goal. Otherwise, pretty quiet. And Boom, another good display too.
So Man United are back though, right?
They are.
How are the Man United fans feeling this morning?
Don't get too excited. There was a genuine sense of celebration on Saturday evening when the final whistle went. This is what it's come to. Like, the absolute palpable sense of relief. It was, it still felt that they won this game, and it's like, well, a team like this shouldn't really win a game against Chelsea, but they have done, so fair play. But for all the talent Chelsea have, they didn't look very talented. Green for United. What else have we got?
Arthur, what do you think of Man United?
It's building. It's slowly building. Like, it's not. There have been I know it throws off the value of the result because obviously Chelsea have 10 men for 40 minutes. But it's from a direct thing they've been doing every game. That attack right down the middle or the top. They did it against Fulham. Cunha hits the post or just pulled off save, I think, from Leno. They do it every single thing and they nail it. And this time they got kind of a huge reward from it. But if he doesn't foul him and get sent off, it's a goal. So it's effective. Things are happening. They're linking up. They're getting better. I still think they're incredibly fragile. You have no confidence they'd win that game in the second half, going in level in terms of men. But they're playing better. They're without a shadow of a doubt.
They have the most shots in the league this season or something like that. So they're
profligate. They're not.
Very
not clinical. But
very profligate. But at the same time, I don't have any faith that they'll get 6 points against Brentford and Sunderland. Do you know what I mean?
When we talked last week with Keith Tracy about tactics and bits, he's like, the first thing is you need to see the team try. And there was he called Amorim all week for them to be more aggressive, and they were. They were
really good.
And that might have led to was the first yellow card for Casemiro?
Yeah, it was nailed on.
Yeah, so that's what happens when you call for the team to be aggressive. You're going to get people sent off, etc. But I think there was a sign of the team being unified. I actually think that the bit during the week where your man flies in and Amorim comes out and goes, yeah, he's giving me a new contract. There's a swagger about Amorim, which is not what normally happens when you get the vote of confidence. It feels like they've actually convinced him that, no, we're going to stick with this. And then Ferguson in the crowd cheering in the rain. That's all a moment.
With Big Sam.
That's all a moment. Yeah. Is he in the Uber Eats ad now? Or Just Eat or Delivery or whatever it is? Ferguson's next, is it?
I don't think he'll do it. He'll comment on it though, but they'll be buddies. I don't think Amorim's ever lost his bravado.
I thought it. Well, it sounded like piss and vinegar, whereas.
But it's all relative to the result, isn't it?
You back it up.
It's all relative to the result, It goes back to the City thing. Performance versus waste. All right, so that's green. Marcus Rashford, though, who's still, of course, a Manchester United player. Well, you got to put Rashy in the red. It was all about Rashy Friday morning for green, but Monday morning's Rashy red. So I have Barcelona push notifications on the phone, right? Team news comes in last night. Barcelona against Getafe in La Liga. 8 p.m. kickoff. Look through the starting 11. No sign of the boy Marcus Rashford. And I'm thinking to myself, what? Scores a brace against Newcastle in the Champions League at St James's Park. 2 fabulous goals. What does this guy have to do to get in the team? There's no Champions League for Barcelona midweek. Surely he'll play. On the bench, it's like, man, Hansi Flick's mad for rotation. Nah, transpires, according to The Athletic, that Rashi was disciplined for showing up late. And Hansi Flick has no patience for that, Ger. When is the boy going to learn? Will he learn?
No.
No, says
It's fairly on brand. Like,
He came out at half time. Not that big a deal.
he got punished when he was late away to Wolves Molyneux years ago and came on at half time as well. I think he scored that day, actually.
scored the winner, yeah.
Yeah.
He set up a. I mean, they were playing somebody that didn't matter. Anyway, they've done this with Rafinha. They've done this with.
Yeah, he does. He's mad for it.
It'll be no big deal.
Flicks him off the starting 11.
Not that it's no big.
No
It's
bother.
not like it in itself, but it's not. It is a trend.
Yeah. No, well,
It's not like it's a one-off thing. Like,
were you surprised?
not remotely.
Were you surprised?
Was I surprised at the
news?
two amazing goals during the week for a big Champions League game? No, I wasn't surprised.
Were you surprised with this news?
I mean, like,
You don't care. Put him back in the team, says you.
I think he's going to prosper away from Manchester United. Fair play to him. I don't wish him ill.
I was delighted for him. We were delighted for him on Friday morning. Barcelona won the game anyway, 3-0. So it didn't hurt his side. What colour do you want to give Rashi? Rashi red?
You're putting him in the red, aren't you?
Red.
It's
Red.
just it's just emblematic of it. Like, it's not,
Emblematic
not
to the boy.
surprising.
Put him in red there.
Same thing.
Show the boy in red. Liverpool, though, I mean, this is the greenest of green. We touched on it already. So what a weekend for Liverpool. All the rivals dropping points. And once again, they've won a game, Liverpool. So, it is the first time. You know that guy for United, the United fan who's going to cut his hair when United win 5 games in a row? This is the first time that Salah's won 5 Premier League games in a row. Would you believe that?
Who?
Salah has won 5 Premier League games in a row.
Didn't that win like loads of them last year?
Well, that's what it says here.
Must have drawn one.
What else do I have here about this?
Drew at Bournemouth, I think, last year.
39 games Liverpool have scored in a row. 97 games since their last scoreless draw. And again, they left out some big boys who we've touched on already. So their big striker, their main playmaker, and their new right back all start on the bench for Liverpool against Everton. Ryan Gravenberch, what a finish that was. That could have been included in my notable goals of the weekends. Beautiful finish. A goal that you don't see that often, actually. Everton pressed a bit in the second half. Idrissa Gana Gueye. Beautiful goal. He's the oldest Everton player to score in the Merseyside derby, the Premier League.
What is he,
35.
42, 35.
35.
All right.
Who was older? Only one person older, huh?
Gary McAllister.
Gary McAllister, and you'd be right in saying that. So he's started brilliantly this season. Gravenberch, Liverpool have been okay, but they're getting the job done repeatedly against a pretty decent Everton side. Jack Grealish played well. He was very, very annoyed at the referee's display. Kieran Dewsbury Hall got booked for taking a free kick too fast for the ref. Greedo wasn't having it afterwards.
I mean, not many minutes played of stoppage time.
3 minutes in the full time, 1 minute into the first half. Grealish says, I've never seen that before in my life.
Would have been interesting if it was 1-1.
It was the other way around, but I've heard it from Liverpool supporters. Well, if it was the other way around, it would have been justified if it was double the length of time in injury time, because Everton would have been wasting time.
Ah, right.
That's what I've heard. So a great weekend for Liverpool. I mean, it's pure green all day for Liverpool. Any objections there? Please speak now or forever hold your peace.
We need shades of green. Surely this team can get better, I suppose, is the thing.
We do. I would be all for changing the palette. Absolutely. Because, you know, like if we had won gold
British racing green
at the
could be one
Worlds,
of
then you need something bigger again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we have one to go, and I'll leave it to you. Aston Villa FC. What is going on?
It's very difficult to know, isn't it? When you start calling out the players, you think, oof, this is... So Emery called them lazy. When we conceded, we were lazy. We were lazy sometimes in defence, really lazy. I told them the same thing I'm telling you. We have to look for our identity. I'm frustrated and disappointed at how we played, at how we are not playing, feeling comfortable with our style. Like, Ollie Watkins, he looks like a facsimile of the player that he has been in the past.
Morgan Rogers was poor in possession. Very unlike him.
Morgan hasn't been good since
Got the young player of the year.
the Champions League really. Like the February last year, his form started to come off, and anyway, there was a few moments where Daniel Mallon got through 1-1, and what a waste of money he's been. Like a ball gets punted through when it's 1-0, and you think if he scores here, then this is going to be a very important moment for the team because they're going to win the game, and it'll be a confidence booster for them. And he will have a bit of confidence, but he is pony and like ran the ball out essentially. Didn't know how to win the corner, even when he did win the corner. It was like, and after that, it was kind of felt inevitable that Sunderland were going to score. So,
what do you want to give him here? What colour would you like to administer?
Red.
Well, they got a point.
They're in the relegation zone.
It's been shocking.
They got a point. Sunderland went down to 10 men early.
Yeah. So and there was actually a brilliant bit of commentary on the radio. He got kicked in the balls, and Richie's being very polite about it, and Brian Kerr's like, "That's off the ball. This is off the ball. That's off the ball." Yeah, no good.
That's great. All right, we'll end it on a negative, but I hope it's been a pleasant experience for you all. Aston Villa in the red. That's this week's performance rankings.
Off the Balls performance rankings.